Public transportation. This one's going to be about new environments, and public transportation is a good way to get started on these new environments. Of course, everyone is different when it comes to public transportation. You know, some folks prefer going to the car or a boat, or even by plane and all that kind of thing too. But public transportation, such as the taxi or the bus, is pretty nice, and it'll get you places a lot fast. Without the effort to drive yourself. So, new environments, I believe, is quite the challenge when it comes to folks with autism. It's a new experience, new environment, and sometimes some cultures can be quite new. So the one thing I would say to folks as a bit of a hint and a tip is look around you. Look around your environment to see what other people are doing that is socially acceptable, and you can in a way imitate their examples socially, and it's okay. These moments can be pretty nice. Once you do that, these new environments will be not as scary. You can do it with your parents or friends or teachers when it comes to imitate these examples for other people, especially with new environments. And with public transportation, that's a good way to do so as well, because you get to practice on how to use public transportation much more efficiently. Yeah, before I learned about how the bus system works, I learned how the taxi system works, and before that, I learned how the boat system works. Or as we like to call, the ferry, which literally right over there from my office is the ferry system. Learn how to get on board and get off board, and we practiced this so many times until we figured out how to do it flawlessly. And nowadays, once I have more free time on my hands, I get to go over to the city and get to have my city fix. So it's quite fantastic, and it's quite the adventure. One of the things I like to do personally is I like to take whatever bus there is and see where it takes me, and then of course use the bus system to learn how to go back home. But that's just me personally. I would not recommend folks doing that right away. First, you gotta know how the system works. Gotta know how the bus system works with public transportation. And once you feel ready, once you feel comfortable about how that works, you can have your own adventure. I'm not here to tell you where to go. It's all up to you. And with these adventures, I will recommend, when it comes to folks with autism, to find their own adventures. Find these moments, whether it be calculated or planned out. They can all just go wherever the go wherever the wind takes them, exactly. But go wherever the bus takes them, and then learn how to get back. Of course, you gotta learn how to be safe and smart. It's like don't stay up too late at a certain hour, or get back home at a certain hour too. But talk to your parents about that kind of stuff too. It's everyone's different for that kind of thing. And speaking of new environments, every city in the United States is quite different, and of course all over the world too. So it's all good for communication, proper communication when it comes to these environments and public transportation. But for me personally, I like to just see where the public transportation takes me, and then be back home in time for supper. So that's just who I am personally. I just enjoy a good adventure, and before I know it, I learned that there's a record studio nearby, or an arcade, or a place that has some really good, decent hamburgers, and it's just all part of the adventure, and walking around and get to know the places here and there, and kind of make some notes along with this journey. So that's just me personally. So what about you? How would you do your adventures? How would you handle new experiences and new environments? And how do you use transportation? Do you use transportation more often, or do you like to use the public transportation for very special occasions? Everyone's different in that sort of way, so feel free to let me know. I like to hear from you. So that's why I would just say, when it comes to like public transportation and new environments. So feel free to talk about it. So feel free to talk about with your friends, family members, and teachers about how you would like to have your adventures when it comes to these locations. So this is Tyler McNamer of AutismWorks. It's time to get to work to make it work. Good night, everyone.